All right, looks like we're live. Hey everybody, Ed here on a Sunday morning, just walking the dogs. Well, actually I'm sitting exploring. Larry, George, say hello. Good boy, Georgie. That's George, he's the little one. He's the scruffy one. All right, so what are we going to talk about today on this Sunday morning? Obviously I'm actually in the middle of a couple of launches right now. One of them's mine, and one of them's to do with an experiment that I ran, all through last year. First, what I did, because there's no point reading something, and this is what sort of happened. I read something and I thought, wow, that's incredible. And the bottom line of what I read was instead of working on our weaknesses, we should focus on our strengths. And that was really like a smack between the eyes moment, and it really was something extraordinary. And that was looking at something called the Kolbe Index, Kolbe. Then I was introduced to Software Development's Scrum process, something actually we've been using to broadcast to develop our Magcast and Scrivcast software. It's a process that John has been using forever in our teams, but it had always been in basically the software development world. And reading this book by Jeff Sutherland called Scrum, How to Do Twice as Much and Double the Fun, which is a great title for a book, isn't it? Read that, and the whole reason he wrote that book was to say, hey, look, this stuff's working in software development unequivocally. Why not apply it to all other things like publishing and from our neck of the woods, Magcasting and Scrivcasting? So there were these two completely disparate things, and there was a third thing as well, and that was, I suppose it came out of my research into Scrum, which was the concept of the Kanban board, visually tracking what you're doing, really visually, not on a to-do list, not in an electronic thing, but on a physical board using Post-it notes. And so all of these three things sort of all smashed together at once. And it was phenomenal. And hello from Gallipoli, Turkey, and Moscow. Isn't Periscope marvellous? It really is. So smashing together these three things, and I thought there's something here. But what do? Do you go out and create a course on it and teach it immediately? Unfortunately, that's what some people do. But no, we had to test it. So originally, and some of you who've been following along for a while may have known that, very early last year, I ran a couple of beta workshops with people who have followed me, and we started exploring this, and then learnt from those workshops, ran another series of workshops, went to London, went to San Diego, went to Portland, went to Orlando to refine these processes, and then worked with private clients and applied these processes to my private clients and see how they work. And the response was terrific. It really was, like, without a shadow of a doubt, without exaggeration, the most dramatic changes that I've seen to any people that I've seen trying to start an online business or create an online business. It was incredible. So what's that all mean? So the last step of the process was, okay, could we do this and teach this online everywhere? So I ran just before the holidays last year. It's last year now, isn't it? It's February already, isn't it amazing? And I ran 100 people through this process and learned an enormous amount. And it was fascinating because this is the first time anybody's done any sort of larger scale study of applying these techniques together, meshing these three completely disparate things and moving them together and seeing what that result would be. And the results were again, incredibly heartening. Some of the surprising things to learn were if you look at the profiles, and when I say profile here, we're talking about the Kolbe Index, which is spelled Kolbe. And that's not a personality test or an emotional quotient test or an IQ test. It's literally, what do you find easiest to do to take action? What are the things that you can just do naturally? And we've all got this, right? There are certain things that you do which are just not a big deal. You don't have to rev yourself up to do them. And there are other things where you have to absolutely rev yourself up to do. And for me, for example, that's writing. I can do it writing all right, but oh gosh, it's really hard. Yet ask me to do a Periscope like this and well, let's go, let's talk. And it turns out that's a set of characteristics that people have. And what was really, really interesting is when you look at all the combinations, there are 4 different criteria or 4 different categories in Kolbe. And of those 4 categories, there's sort of 3 different sections or levels. And if you look at those levels, like the combinations, I can't do the math, but it's thousands and thousands and thousands of combinations. Yet, out of a sample of 100 students, people who are obviously wanting to start an online business, wanting to, create a plan B, so to speak, make some money online, bluntly, guess what? Out of the thousands of combinations, literally 90% of them were covered in 3. In fact, actually, it was, to be absolutely specific, 94% of them were covered by just 3 profile traits. And that was fascinating. But here's the deal. Those 3 profile traits are very different. It doesn't mean just because you score one thing or another, there's no bad scores here, right? And everybody who has the entrepreneurial bug, one of the reasons we have an entrepreneurial bug is we don't like to be managed. And that is a criteria that, that people who exhibit these profiles certainly have. And so it was fascinating to me to see that. And that's what I released a series of videos last week about. And it's something I'm really, really proud of. And I hope if you get the chance, I've been emailing you guys and letting you know, if you get the chance to have a look at these videos, I'm really proud of them. I genuinely believe they are the most important videos that I have done. I'll post this up on YouTube as well, and I'll put a link underneath for you guys so that you can have a look. But with that, enjoy your weekend, Saturday night or Sunday morning if you're here in the future in Australia. It's a lovely day here, and I think the boys. Hey, Larry, George, say goodbye. Good boy, Georgie. Hey, Larry. Say hello to everybody. All right. With that, everybody, I will keep walking. I will see you guys later on. All right. See you later. Bye. Oh, you picked that up. You're absolutely right. Larry has got a little bit of a limp. He's recovering from, he hurt his feet a couple. Well done. That is, oh, well done, Simon. That is very good. Yeah, we've taken him to. He hurt his right. He hurt his right paw, and he's actually been off walking for a while. So we're just sort of getting into recovery for him. So we're not walking as long as we have been, because we were, for a shelter he would walk a long way. We'd do 4 kilometres every day. But isn't that awesome? Vet on Periscope. Hey, that gives me an idea. You could, if you could do that, if you could just notice that through Periscope, isn't that incredible? Isn't that amazing? Like, you could do remote diagnosis for vets. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can't do that you need to have something, but just to be able to see that's quite extraordinary. Anyway, folks, thanks very much. We'll see you from wherever you are. Oh, thanks, Simon. Appreciate that. All right. See you all. Thank you.